All right. Welcome back. It's Wednesday night. Welcome to I can do an official intro because for this is the first time I've had it. I actually have a co-host before like in the studio before I went live. So I can do like a nice fancy little intro. This is Mid Michigan Bible Study. We go live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. and welcome my name is Steven. I want you to welcome Clay to the stage.
Hey there, how's it going?
I never get to do those. I usually just kind of give it a couple minutes for else to join. I'm usually expecting that. Like I'm usually hoping either my friend Isaac or Joe will be able to like pop on, but like I'm never able to do like an official intro.
Well, hopefully this is the first of many that I'm actually on time for something that's a first for probably the
Yeah,
month.
I mean you've been more consistent than Isaac or Joe have been, but to be fair,
Oh,
Joe works like every other Wednesday, so he's not like he works night shift every other Wednesday, so he's not able to be on every
gotcha.
Wednesday. And he also like he doesn't have like a full computer setup yet. He's been working on that, but I don't expect him to be able to join every week. But Isaac he just has young kids that he's dealing with, so can't blame him on that either. Um, So if you've been following, I'm not sure who's watching right now, but if you've been following along, we've been doing the parables of Jesus Christ. Last week we finished the parables exclusive to the gospel according to Matthew. This week we are going to start the parables uh, of the like exclusive to the gospel of Luke. And this is super fun because I thought it was going to take a lot more time, like a lot less time than it was. I didn't realize how many there were. There's 14 just in the Gospel of Luke, and we both know how detailed Luke is. Like he has a very detailed account of things. So this is going to take a lot longer than I thought, but that's perfectly fine by me. So the first one we're going to do is the parable of the moneylender. Excuse me. It says it's just a couple verses, but it is a couple verses, but I wanted to get into the background, so we're going to be starting from verse 36. So I'm not even going to go to that slide. I'm just going to go to this tab over here. We're going to start from verse 36. Uh, just let me know when you're ready, Clay.
Give me just a second. I actually got my ESV with me this time instead of the King James, so hopefully I won't be stumbling over everything. Still in the middle of making a very well, I guess for me it's not so late, but for most people, late dinner.
It's all a matter of perspective. All right, so Luke 7, starting at verse 36. One of the Pharisees asked him to eat with him, and he went into the Pharisee's house and reclined at table. And behold, a woman of the city who was a sinner, when she learned that he was reclining at table in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster flask of ointment, and standing behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears, and wiped them with her hair of her head, and kissed his feet, and anointed them with the ointment. Now, when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would have known who and what sort of woman this is who is touching him, for she is a sinner. And Jesus answering said to him, Simon, I have something to say to you. And he answered, say it, teacher. So I just wanted to get that background first, because we're seeing like if I remember the culture right, like uh first century Judy like Hebrews, like there's a reason that the women cover their hair. Like they were. I can't remember what is off the top of my head. I'm sure you know a little bit better, but I'm fairly certain it's in the law, like it's in the Torah. So for him to like be showing their hair was seen as like a disgrace, or I'm sorry, I'm blanking on that. Could you do you know better?
I know it would be back in Leviticus, if I recall. Don't necessarily quote me on that, but it should be back in Leviticus. Um, but the so men and women kind of had polar opposites. A bald head was the honor and glory of a man, whereas the honor and glory for a woman was her hair, and to cover it would be the same way as protecting and veiling and guarding something precious um, before others, so that only her husband or God could see it. That's the way it was viewed as in early biblical era.
Yeah, so we see that she's so if that's true, like I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm just saying like if that's true, like we're saying that she's like using her hair, something that's viewed as like honored and precious, to basically like clean Jesus's feet and like anoint him with ointment. And Pharisee is seeing this and saying like this is wrong. Like like she's a sinner. Like sorry, stumbling over like she's a saint, like she's more like he's a little more concerned with like who she is rather than what she's doing, it seems.
Well, on the other side of it too was just the utter awe and shock
Yeah,
of not only a woman uncovering her hair before the presence of men, but then going and washing just about the dirtiest place that you could on someone else.
yeah,
Um, like again, you would have servants that would come in and wash others' feet. If you didn't have servants, it would probably be your children. If you didn't have children, it would be you yourself. But when you first entered someone's home, the custom would then be to wash their feet and to remove the dirt from the road. And again, keep in mind this is early biblical, that if they were working in the fields, they're covered in the dirt and mud from there. They're working with animals. They've probably got feces and other stuff on their feet. Even in the town center,
yeah,
just walking among the town streets. So not exactly a clean place. So for someone to then remove their veil over their hair and to wash someone else's feet, taking
yeah,
on all of that dirt and filth into their hair, was kind of a shock factor in and of itself, but also just an awe that somebody would be willing to take care and uh, given a in its own sense a special blessing or literal anointing, as we're about to find out in and of itself.
yeah. And I like what I like what you said about like taking the dirt and the like feces, like just the filth in onto herself. Like it's very telling of what's like it like what you said specifically just like instantly reminded me of like the crucifixion, like Christ taking like the filth of sin onto himself. And like I just like the way that you worded that. All right. Now on to the actual parable. Um a certain moneylender had two debtors. One owed 500 denarii and the other 50. When they could not pay, he canceled the debt of both. Now which of them will love him more? Simon answered, the one, I suppose, for whom he canceled the larger debt. And he said to him, you have judged rightly. Then turning toward the woman, he said to Simon, do you see this woman? I entered your house, and you gave me no water for my feet. But she has wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You gave me no kiss, but from the time I came in, she has not ceased to kiss my feet. You did not anoint my head with oil, but she has anointed my feet with ointment. Therefore I tell you, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much. But he who is forgiven little loves little. And he said to her, your sins are forgiven. Then those who were at the table with him began to say among themselves, Who is this who even forgives sins? And he said to the woman, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. So, just excuse me just a moment. Feel free to chime in with whatever you need to say, but
No, you're good. I was scrolling back through trying to see if I could find that passage on covering their hair, but it may actually be somewhere else, or I skipped over it. Could be Proverbs. I'm sure it does mention it in there, but I was looking specifically for the law on it and could not find it where I thought it was.
yeah, I'm sure if I went into the commentary on Bible Hub here, I could find it, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. So, with the parable, we see, like if we just plug in the characters, like it says a certain moneylender that we would associate that with God or with Christ himself, had two debtors, one who owed 500 and the other 50. Both of them claimed that they're not able to pay, and he canceled the debt on both of them. And he, like Christ points it, like which of them will love him more? Like which of them will love he who like forgave the debt more? And Simon the Pharisee answers the one whom he canceled the larger debt. And Jesus just tells him he's right. But he's not realizing his own like hypocrisy there, and that's a little funny because he's admitting like not only is the one who is going to have the bigger debt forgiven, but he's like admitting like I'm the one that like I view myself as having the lesser debt, because like he's the one that's judging. He's the one calling this woman a sinner. But he's basically saying like I'm righteous, she's the sinner, and he's coming and saying, okay, well, the one that has a bigger debt, the sinner, is obviously going to love him more. Yeah, anything?
Not right off the top of my head.
Yeah. All right.
I might in a moment on that. But.
All right. Well, I have nothing more to say personally on it. Like I might go off of something you say if you have something, but
No, if I know myself well enough, I'm probably going to find some weird way to connect the two of these parables once we get to the next one.
Absolutely, that makes sense. So next parable is a good one. It's the parable of the Good Samaritan. Excuse me. You eating, or do you are you able to read it?
Yeah, I'm able to read it.
All right. Don't feel like you have to. I'm just asking.
How much do you want me to read through?
As much as you're willing to.
No, I'll read through all of it. I just didn't know if you wanted me to pause in the middle of it, or I guess you let me know if you want to say something and just stop me.
Yeah, and feel free to stop yourself if you feel like there's somewhere you want to say something.
All right. And behold, a lawyer stood up to put him to the test, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said to him, What is written in the law? How do you read it? And he answered, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And he said to him, You have answered correctly. Do this, and you will live. But he, desiring to justify himself, said to Jesus, And who is my neighbor? And Jesus replied, A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers, who stripped him and beat him and departed, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a priest was going down that road, and when he saw him,
he passed by on the other side. So likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. He went down to him and bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he set him up on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And the next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, "Take care of him, and whatever more you spend, I will repay you when I come back." Which of these 3 do you think proved to be a neighbor to the man who fell amongst the robbers? And he said, "The one who showed him mercy." Jesus then said to him, "You go and do likewise."
All right. So one thing I'm very curious about, because it shows 2 people come across him before the Samaritan, a priest and a Levite. I'm a little confused because I thought that the Levites were the priests. So
Yeah and no. Where I gotta make certain that I'm quoting this right. Okay, it is a he. So yes and no. There's 2 qualifying factors here. The Levites, in and of themselves, did serve as basically God's branch of religious leaders within the kingdom of Israel. And that, if you remember, was done after the first concubine incident, when all of Egypt banded up together. Or I'm sorry, no, I'm misquoting that. That was after the golden calf incident, or shortly thereafter, when God told the Israelites to go through and slay their brothers and their sisters and their family left and right, all who had bowed down and worshipped false gods before God, and basically only the Levites did. And from that day on, God made them his chosen religious leaders. And so it could have been then, or it could have been the golden snake that was made when
the
they
bronze snake, you mean?
Yeah, the bronze snake when Egypt was cursed. Regardless, either way, the Levites did serve exclusively as the priests. You didn't serve as a priest within Israel if you were not of the Levites. That said, we're also talking about, in one sense, a different sect of religious leaders. Most of the religious leaders, at least from the little bit I'm able to understand thus far, were likely Levites. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that they had to be. A priest in general could have been somebody that simply studied the law, and decided to pursue that as their career path. It could have been someone that, like Samuel, was effectively given over to the priests and raised up to become a priest, even though they themselves may not have been of the Levites. So there's a few different options there. We don't really know. But point being, the Levite simply could have been a much older person, or it could have been someone on the kind of off rotation where they weren't serving as a priest, or maybe they were part of the the other priestly duties, with the sacrifices or the offerings, or any number of the different duties that the Levites had, that wasn't necessarily directly a priest. The Levites kind of oversaw the entire thing. That they had the women baking the bread, they had the men carrying out the sacrifices, the children learning how to, and keeping up with the fires on both ends of it. They had the worship and the musicians, those that were praising, and then you had the scribes and the, I guess, elders of the Levites that were truly carrying out the priestly duties. So there was a number of different ranks, I guess, or roles within the Levites, but just being a Levite didn't necessarily mean that you were a priest.
Yeah. So basically, all priests were Levites, but not all Levites were priests.
Most of them, I don't know enough to say for certain that sects like the Pharisees and Sadducees weren't also Levites, but it's safe to say that, yes, at the very least, most, if not the majority, of priests were probably at least of the Levite clan, but just being a Levite did not make you a priest.
Yeah. Okay. And as for the Samaritan, if I remember this correctly, Samaritans were basically, to use a Harry Potter term, they were mudbloods. Like they were technically considered like ethnic Jews, but they were Jews that were like born to, what was a Jewish father and like a Canaanite, or not necessarily Canaanite, but
yeah, I mean, for all respective purposes, or maybe disrespective purposes, depending on how you look at it, they were effectively looked at as the bastard child of the Israels, and therefore just as good as a Gentile. They were treated as the absolute scum of the earth. Like, we don't associate with them, we distance ourselves, and that was shown in culture alone. They were treated as oftentimes worse than tax collectors. Tax collectors at least were of the opposing side, not trying to feign that they were of the same side and work their way into something that they didn't belong to. So but point standing, that they were treated as outsiders. We don't associate with them, we don't talk with them, we don't even walk by them. But the other thing to note here was that the both the priest and the Levite, simply being around those roles, would have known that a dead body is considered unholy and defiling. That's something that you would normally have to have outside the camp, for the Israelites while they were going through the wilderness. And it would have continued when actual towns and cities were built up. Dead bodies would have been taken outside the camp or the city walls, not kept within them. But both the priest and the Levite would have inherently known, stay away from a dead body. And we're told here that this person was half dead. We don't know if he was groaning, we don't know if he was still alive, but just barely laying there, barely conscious. But the other side of it is just knowing, if this guy is dead and I touch him, just trying to see if he's alive, I've now defiled myself. For the priest, that means he can't, do his duties for 1 day, 3 days. Forget right off the top of my head, but I believe it's at minimum a day. You have to wash yourself and be unclean until evening. But it could be longer. but regardless, he then wouldn't be able to fulfill any priestly duties until he was then regarded and proven as clean. And the same for any of the Levites. If they were serving within the temple, they would have been barred from service. So it may not have simply just been a discuss for, let's just say that this man was a Gentile, and they knew right away this isn't someone I should touch, versus, hey, this is a fellow Levite. I should have reason to if I think he's alive, but otherwise I'm going to stay away from him. It may not have been a blatantly nefarious thing for them to ignore him. It may have simply been, I'm going to overlook this because he looks dead. I'm not even going to risk it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes to like the letter of the law. Like they were following the letter of the law as opposed to like following the heart of it. Like they were more concerned about remaining like clean and holy and able to like perform their priestly duties, as opposed to extending a hand to someone who needed help.
Right.
Yeah. That does make me question the Samaritan, though, like, because like Samaritans, like they were technically Jewish, like they were like they did have the customs, didn't they? Like you would think so, right? Like they would know, like they would have at least someone who knew the law and was able to teach the law within their community, because they're technically, like, even though they're outsiders to the rest of the nation of Israel, they would
they would have at least had some of it. But again, depending on whether it was the mother that was the Israelite, or the father that was the Israelite, it very well could have been a case where, hey, this is very loosely held, or we're looked down on everybody. We just don't follow the same rules to the same standard, because even if we did, people aren't going to accept it. They're not going to believe it, or it doesn't make a difference for us. So it's possible, but I can't say definitively yes or no.
Can't fully speak to it. That's fair. But yeah, as we've discussed multiple times, the Samaritans are dirty dogs, and no, like they like it's. I mean, it's possible. I'm not gonna keep going down that. I'm not gonna say what's possible because I don't know. But like they were viewed as outsiders. They were viewed as dirty. They were viewed as possibly like just the same as Gentiles, as dogs. But unlike them, unlike the Levite and the priest, they went with what was the heart of the law. They went and showed compassion to this person who was half dead, like, because they weren't necessarily concerned with being seen as unclean. They're already seen as unclean, so they probably figured, like, might as well.
Right.
But even then, like, not only did he like just do maybe the basic of like patching him up, he set him on his own animal, and he brought him somewhere that can be taken care of, and even spend his own money. That's not just like taking care, but it's like doing well more like than what he might have been expected to do.
Right. Well, and then remember at the very end, he gave him he gave the innkeeper 2 denarii.
Yeah.
If we remember back to the vineyard owner, he gave each of the workers a penny or a denarii, depending on your translation. And so, as far as I can tell, that was the equivalent of a day's wage. And so he paid him for at least 2 days' wages, potentially even more, depending on the innkeeper, and then said, "Hey, take care of him when I come back. Anything that you've also spent in resources or time or whatever else, I'll also cover. And so, yeah, like you said, it was not just simply the bare minimum, bless you and, go in peace. It was making certain that, hey, I'm going to go out of my way to take care of this guy. I don't care about public reputation or, any of the eyes on me. Like, people already look down upon me. I'm not losing anything. But
Yeah.
I'm going to make certain that this person is taken care of and not only just brought to a safe place, but then see to it that they're fully patched up, given food, water, bandages, rest, anything that they need. And in the meantime, because I can't be here to do it myself, I'm going to make certain that the next person has the resources so that when I come back, I can then settle with them and then not just, hey, here's a problem, you fix it. And I promise I'll come back later, but going above and beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are so many times where we fail at this as a society, where we fail to where we fail to just do this as as a neighbor to other people. Like we won't even do the bare minimum. Like occasionally, like maybe I'll give a couple quarters to the person on the side of the road, but at the same time, it's all like it goes to discernment. Like how can I trust what a person is going to use this? Like how can I trust? But like that's me thinking. Like sometimes I gotta think like, okay, he just needs it. Like I don't know who this person is. Just give it. Like I have plenty. Like maybe they don't have as much. Maybe they have more than what they're like portraying themselves to be. But that's not my concern. My concern should be giving freely.
Well, and then even if he had just stopped, picked up the guy and taken him to an inn, how easy would it have been for any of the innkeepers to look at them and just, if he just dropped him off and kind of left them with him and, maybe they did pay him money, how easy would it have been for not only the innkeepers, but then for anybody around in the area to see, hey, this guy is just beaten to heck. We can just play this off as, yeah, I'm sorry, he just didn't make it. He didn't survive his wounds or whatever. And nobody's going to question it. Everybody saw him be brought in just at the absolute edge of his life, or at least halfway there. And if this guy just takes off, there's no question there as to whether how plausible it would have been for him to pass from his wounds. But this guy not only took him somewhere, but purchased a room, got him in there, and then cleaned him of his wounds, poured over oil, which would have been somewhat of a antiseptic and kind of like a healing salve.
Yeah.
And also the wine, which would have had high contents of, a vinegar, especially if it was an older wine, which also would have helped to clean and disinfect any of the wounds, and just aid in, him being able to heal. But, wiped him down, cleaned him, bandaged him, and gave him the oil and the wine and spread that over his body to help protect any of the open wounds and heal him. And then told the innkeeper, hey, here's 2 denarii, take care of him. And then when I return, I'll cover the costs. So now it's much harder then for someone to say, hey, wait a second, this guy was bandaged up and taken care of. You can't just simply say, well, he died. Like there's much less reason for error or excuse for something to happen when somebody's been diligent to take care of somebody versus otherwise. So he didn't simply just say, "Hey, bless you, go on your way," or "Hey, I'll take you someplace and then I'll just toss money at your feet and hope for the best." But he went and took care of him to the best of his abilities and said, "Hey, I've got other duties. I have to take care of this, but I'm still going to make certain that somebody is there to take care of you."
Yeah. And I think that speaks to the beauty of this parable, because very easily they could have just taken, like the innkeeper still could have just taken the money, not even worried about checking in on them. But like we don't know the hearts of other people, but like we could like we can still take care of their needs, like we as we should, like we should be like helping others, like without even thinking about what's in it for us.
Right.
Like our treasures are laid up in heaven. Like we can take a moment to stop and help others.
I'm gonna take just one moment. I might disappear, but I'm gonna send a link for the YouTube over to a friend of mine that's watching, or that would like to watch if they're able to.
Oh. Yeah, no problem. And you won't net. Oh, he did in fact fully disappear. And just for the record, anyone who might be watching, that was more for myself. It's like I'm not calling out anyone else to condemn you specifically. It's more of a it's more on myself, you know. I'm it's a conviction on myself. I should be like, I'm trying to confront myself on this. That is, like, I feel convicted to give more, and I fail at that very frequently.
Well, that was
You
weird.
did in fact disappear fully.
Yeah, I tried to just kind of minimize my page and scoot over to messages real quick, and it completely cut me out of the stream. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can't minimize.
Yeah, normally it doesn't do that. Like if you cut out, like it might like freeze you, and like you won't be able to talk, but like it should still, like you should still be in the studio, you know? I'm
Right.
not sure. I guess I haven't done it too frequently, but all right. Well, we got some time. I guess we can go to the next one, which is in Luke 11, the friend in need. I'm not sure if, okay, no, there's not that much uh yeah, there's not much background, because it right before it is the the Lord's Prayer. So we can just go straight to straight into it. Um and he said to them, "Which of you who has a friend will go to him at midnight and say to him, 'Friend, lend me 3 loaves, for a friend of mine has arrived on a journey, and I have nothing to set before him?' And he will answer from within, 'Do not bother me, the door is now shut, and my children are with me in bed. I cannot get up and give you anything.' I tell you, though, he will not get up and give him anything because he is his friend, yet because of his impudence, he will rise and give him whatever he needs." So I'm not gonna lie, this one does confuse me a little bit. Like, because it kind of seems like at first, uh, like he's saying that the friend on the inside will say like, "No, don't bother me," but then is saying, uh, like the guy on the inside is like on the inside of the house is actually going to get up and give him whatever. So I'm a little confused. Like there's a little bit of double talk that's just confusing me here.
So I think this kind of goes back to uh, the the parable of was it the 2 sons or the 2 servants, where one of them says, "Yes, I'll go," and then doesn't, and another one says, "No, I won't go," and then later on does. Um, and we see similar events like that kind of throughout the Bible. I mean, uh, Cain would often give his sacrifices or tithes, early versions of it, anyways, just with kind of what was left over, and a lot of the actual temple tithes. The Pharisees would give, not really willingly; they were giving showingly. Um,
Yeah.
Again, a bless me with your lips, but curse me with your heart, kind of thing. So I think it's a case where the same thing. If I showed up to your house unannounced, but it wasn't just like, hey, I'm a neighbor down the street or whatever. I'm somebody that has come from out of state, and I show up to your place at 8:30, when you're putting your girls to bed or something like that. Um, it's gonna be a little bit frustrating. Like, dude, why can't you just give me notice? Like, I got stuff going on. I'm happy to see you, but dude, like, this is not a good time. But like, what am I gonna do? You just came from like out of state to see me. Like, I'm not gonna turn around and send you away. Like, get in here. Come on. We're gonna talk about this in the morning, but get in here. Like, I think it's kind of the same thing where it's like, yes, I'm frustrated that you didn't give me warning, that you didn't wait for a better time, or that you simply didn't prepare better yourself. But I'm glad to see you. Come on in.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically like a reluctant, like, yeah, okay, you're already here. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I think that's also like part of the like confusion that I have is because like the tone just kind of seems off a little bit.
Well, and it could have even been a double layer. Like, hey, this person may have been, you know, kind of the other side of the field, or just a short journey for them. Um, but they had someone come in that was truly from far away, and it's like, hey, I wasn't expecting this person to come in, but they came in to stop and see me, either on their journey or just to come and see me because they had family matters or whatever, that they wanted to speak with me about. And I don't have food for them or their family. Like, I was not expecting this surprise visit. Give me a moment. I can run to a friend of mine that I know I can depend on. Like, hey, I'm sorry, this is bad timing, but like, I wasn't expecting this either, and I can't turn them away, but I know I can trust in you to help me out in this situation. So it could have been a bit of a double layer situation, but I think the point of it was, again, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and God loves a giver with a willing heart.
Yeah. It is like I will say like because it like partially because it's in the commentary, but like the following verse, verses 9 and 10, Jesus continues saying, "And I tell you, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened for you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks it will be opened." So it is kind of implying like there's like a consistent, like a perseverance, and the commentary does kind of go to the story of like Jacob wrestling with God until daybreak, like it's commending like perseverance. It's like, yeah, like this guy's just gonna keep knocking. I might as well open the door because he's like I need not necessarily like I need him to go away, but like it's like he's going to keep going. Like he's like it's not even necessarily because he's my friend, but because like I am tired. I just want him to go. Oh, there's. Oh. Yeah. I don't know. Like this one just I need to like keep going through this one and try and go over it again and again because like this one really does like just kind of confuse me based on the tone and the uh kind of the double talk and I like it. I'm not saying like there's any sort of contradiction here. I'm just saying like the double speak is a little confusing to me and I'm just trying to interpret it and I gotta go through it on my own, I think. I'd say we have time for one more, but the next one is a longer one, so I'm not gonna.
I mean, I'm up for it.
I
It's
know,
only
but
9:50.
it is only 9:50. But here's the thing: is that I have to get up a little earlier than I normally do to get to work tomorrow because like I have to get the girls to daycare by like 7 o'clock, and then I have to uh, get to work by like 8, basically.
Well, you're the one that went and decided to have a family. You done got sponsorbilities, man.
And I'm okay with those. Like I'm
Maybe I'll just stop by at some point at like midnight and just ask if you have a cup of sugar or something.
don't you dare. That's not what I was looking for. It'd be Psalm 112.
I'll drive all the way up from Detroit in the middle of the week too.
Here's the thing: is like middle of the week. That's just rude. But like end of the week, like for example, like if you said like this Friday is technically like with my work, it's technically a like a holiday. Like it's Juneteenth. Like my company recognizes that as a national holiday, so I get the day off.
Yeah, but it's not about convenient timing, man. It's about the worst possible timing and still being willing.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I don't know if you've ever heard it put this way, but hospitality is probably one of the most overlooked gifts that you can have because a lot of people look at hospitality and think, oh, hospitality means, hey, I've got to have, all of my best stuff laid out before you.
Yeah.
And it's not that. It's not, hey, the guests
No.
are over, break out the good towels. It's, look, my wife and I just spent the entire day fighting and yelling and at each other's throats. We're at our wits' end.
Yeah.
And we don't know what to do about bills that are due. We're short on money. We don't have much food. I've got a couple cans of soup. But yeah, we'll let you into our home.
Good soup.
It's vulnerability
Yeah.
and a willingness to be there to serve and to host, even when you don't necessarily feel like you have the capability to do so.
Yeah. Oh.
And
Yeah, and I can see how that can be very like overlooked, like or like under like not necessarily overlooked, but like misunderstood because they're because like I've constantly said to people I know, and I think I've said to you, like, you're welcome at my house anytime, but like if like at the same time, like if someone randomly just knocked on my door, someone I don't know, like would I be willing to like not necessarily open my door, but like at least give something like that they need, like, and send them on their way, like something that they actually need, like they're just here for, like, hey, I
Right.
just need a couple bottles of water, like it's been hot, my kids like are in the car, they're dehydrated, like we haven't had much, like it's like, would I be willing to do the same? It goes back to the Good Samaritan, like would like how much would I be willing to do for them, like they're hot, like I have air conditioning, like, hey, you guys can like just crash on the like in the living room.
Well, and here's what I told you I was going to do earlier.
Yeah,
It goes right back to the first parable. The the gift of hospitality is not this big grand gesture like you get to see the very best of my house, you get the best china, the best towels, we bring out the best soaps, we're going to make the best meal, and make certain that we have games and plenty of things to do, plenty of things to talk about. We're breaking out the good bottle of wine. Like, this is not the here's the very best of my life, I'm going to give it to you. um there certainly are aspects of that, but just like the woman who washed Jesus's feet, um, it's this is all that I have to give, but I will still give it to someone who's in need. And if that's a loved one and a friend, amazing, even better. But even when it's a complete stranger, um, for like the parable of the Good Samaritan, I'm still going to make certain that they have absolutely all of their needs met that I am capable of meeting. Even if I only have, barely enough for me, I will still share so that they have something. Because the most important thing is for me to love God and to love my neighbor as myself. And the best way to love him sometimes is to love others, you know just as Jesus said, all of these things you did unto me, or you did not unto me. It's I can love God by loving this other person. And it's not out of a what will God give me if I do this? It's simply out of a humble, here's what I have, here's what I will give. I know my needs are going to be taken care of because God's an amazing, generous giver. Um, and he loves to give to his kids. But on top of that, like, I don't have to sit here and question if I'm willing to give out of the goodness of my heart to someone who's in need that doesn't have. Is
yeah,
God still going to take care of me and make certain that my needs are met when I just met the needs of a stranger?
yeah, and that does make me think specifically of Matthew 6, uh, where that's not Matthew 6, that's Matthew 5. Come on, um, not here, where it says like starting at 25, like where he's talking about how, like, sorry, starting at 26, look at the birds of the air, they neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they are? Is like he's saying like your needs will be provided. Like you like your heavenly Father will provide for your needs. You do what needs to be done. You need to, like, you do what, like you I had I'm drawing a blank on where I was going with that. Um but we are going to be provided for, like we put our faith and trust in God, and that's where Matthew 6:33 comes in, like, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you.
Well,
And-
and that's also the other side of the friend coming to you that's in
Yeah.
need. Here I am. I'm comfortable in my own bed. My kids are taken care of. They're at peace. They're asleep. But in order to help you now, at this inconvenient time, I now have to leave this safety net and help you. Now, the risk is probably not that he goes out into his kitchen and dies, but you can see the correlation I'm drawing here, that bed is the effective equivalent of, hey, I have all of my needs met, my family is taken care of, but to help you is inconvenient, and I risk that safety net. I don't know that I can do that, but you are a friend and someone that I love. This is inconvenient and not a good time, but I will make certain that your needs are met.
Yeah. Oh, I think I understand it a little bit better.
Go.
Like it's a difficult one. I will say, like I said, like the tone does seem a little like reluctant and not like it just seems counter to what Paul says, like God loves a cheerful giver. But at the same time, it's it goes with what you were saying. Like, yes, this is inconvenient, but you're my friend. Like, not even necessarily you're my friend, but like you're bold. Like you are doing this not out of a want, but out of a need. And I'm
Right.
not just gonna I'm not gonna do leave you hanging like this. That wouldn't be right. That wouldn't be loving my neighbor as myself. Because at the same time, we could be in that I could be in that exact same situation where I just show up at your house. It would definitely have to be on a weekend.
No, don't offer it too much. I might just take you up on it at the least convenient time.
Yeah. Ametha LJ, is that your friend?
Yeah, that's Amy Anderson.
All
Hi,
right.
Amy.
I think it helps when we encourage with the gifts God has given us. It helps each of us serve others well and find our unique types of hospitality. It opens up a certain level of vulnerability between friends. Hi. I agree 100%. And like I've been telling Clay, it's just like the tone of the parable is it's just been tough for me to wrap my head around. But praise God, Clay has helped me kind of understand it a little bit more. And so normally I go about an hour. I do have work in the morning, so I'm gonna have to log off. But I appreciate you being here. I appreciate both of you being here. Both Amy and Clay. Like it really has been a joy to have you the past few weeks, and I hope you're here every week. Frankly,
I tell you truly, this has been the highlight of my day.
Yeah.
My day was very bland up until this point. So
yeah, and I do in fact mean feel free to take me up on it. Like you're welcome at my house anytime, brother.
at some point I will. I got to escape work at some point.
Yeah. I will say in this day and age, though, you can't give me a heads up. Like you don't have to just pop. Like we have phones.
You mean I don't have to travel by camel or donkey?
Yeah, you don't have to travel by camel or donkey for the next 40 days to get to my house. You can give me a text like, "Hey, I'm half an hour away." Like, okay,
wild
cool.
times, man. Wild
Pull up,
times,
brother. Yeah, you can literally like give me like a half hour's notice. I won't care. Like
Half an hour at 2 a.m.
half an hour at 2 a.m. I might not answer your text, but like you knocking on my door will definitely wake Fisher up, and Fisher will wake other things up. It will it will annoy me, but you'd be welcome it. I will say one I do feel like there's a little bit of a story time there. So one time when my like after my mom moved out to Tennessee, we went down to visit her. Like Carrie and I like we were planning on coming down. I think it was like the week of the 4th of July, and I can't remember. We were coming like we were planning on coming down anyway, but like we came like a day early, and I may or may not have forgotten to tell my mom about it.
Oh no!
Carrie asked if I told my mom that we were coming out a day early, and I was like, no, it's my mom. Like why would I? So we pull
You match.
she lives in Tennessee. I'm coming from Michigan. So we drove about 9 or 10 hours before I told my mom. Like I texted my mom saying, "Hey, we're about like 15 minutes away." My wife was not exactly happy about that, but I thought it was funny. I still do.
I would imagine that was much more akin to the parable of the two friends than any previous example I could have given. Is like, listen, I adore seeing my son and his wife, but in 15 minutes,
Yeah. Like they
I don't have
drove
food, I don't have food done, I don't have food.
they drove 10 hours and they're just telling me now. To be
About
fair,
the only thing that could have made that worse is if she was away on a trip or whatever and it was not around.
yeah. Well, here's the thing: is that she knew we were coming out, like at least that sometime that week. She like I didn't tell
Okay.
I just didn't tell her that we were
Not
coming
totally
like a day
off
earlier.
guard, but definitely not
Yeah.
prepared.
Like I didn't tell her that we were coming like a day earlier than Andrew and Carl were. So like it wasn't like completely off guard, but it was a little bit of a surprise, and it was not enough time because like where my mom lives, like they do have like a security center because like they live kind of off of the road a little bit. So like
Yeah.
we were pulling up and my car like tripped that security sensor to tell them that someone was pulling into their house, and like Joe, my mom's boyfriend, came out with a gun.
I mean, it is Tennessee, kind of in the middle of nowhere, you know.
Yeah.
Warranted.
Well, we just didn't give enough notice for him to know, because he was like up in his shop. He was working on like an old Corvette or something. So like he didn't know like that. Like my mom just didn't have enough time to get up there and tell him like, yeah, they're gonna be here in like 10-15 minutes.
Yep. Might I suggest just maybe a little bit more than 15 minutes heads up, or at least telling one of them.
In fairness, it's my mom. I just assumed that she would be ready for us no matter what time.
Well, it's kind of the same thing as the continually extended, hey, you're always welcome at my place. Oh, really? Always? Are you sure about that? Because I love shenanigans.
I'm gonna say you're always welcome at my place. If I'm not there, like it's not my fault if you're standing out in the rain.
I'm never going to kick you off the property. I just may not always be there.
I love it.
I'm just saying, like, this day and age, we should probably be able to give them a little bit, like, give people a little bit more heads up. Again, for my, like, that's not me like condemning anyone else. That's me talking to myself. All right. Well, I'm going to end the stream there. I hope you all enjoyed it, and next week, like I'm actually surprised we got through 3 because the parable of the Good Samaritan it's a good one. It's a long one, and there's probably plenty more that we just didn't get to
Oh,
that we
100%.
probably could have spoken more about.
Not even a question about that.
Yeah, I mean that goes for like any parable, really. Um, but yeah, that's where I'm going to end it. I hope you enjoy. Like anyone who is watching enjoyed it. Anyone new here, which seems like Amy is. And I'm going to say sorry if you don't want me using your full name, like your first name, not necessarily your full name, but like your first name. It is the internet. I understand if you want a little privacy. But I'm just going to say thank you for being here, and if you want, okay. If you want to keep tuning in, like we're live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Anyway, have a good night and God bless.
God bless.
You made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless you for tuning in. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. Help me push this into the algorithm so we can get more viewers, so that we can spread the word of God to all ends of the earth. Thank you and God bless.